Hello there, welcome back. On this basic framework, the first framework, what we are talking about, Selenium Test Engine framework. Till now, we talked about what this course is going to be about, the framework structure, uh, not in the Eclipse, but at the presentation level, we talked. Then, how to decide basically which kind of framework we are going to create for your given application, and walk you through the test cases which we are going to automate. Yeah, so in this video we are going to Eclipse, and in Eclipse we are going to create a folder structure. This is bit important because this is how we are going to start create folder structure for your framework. Okay, so as I said, we are going to create a framework called as hybrid framework. And in hybrid framework, it is going to be data driven plus page object model or page factory. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me open my Eclipse. And in my Eclipse, okay, so when we say we are going to create a new framework, okay, so in the framework, the very first thing what we should do is we should create our project, right? So very first thing I'll do is create my project. And what kind of project we are going to create is Maven project. And why Maven? Because so now I'm expecting you should have some basic understanding of Maven, why we need Maven, what's the advantage, what's the disadvantages, and all those stuff, right? So in short, just to explain why we are going with Maven project. So right, Selenium is just a jar files, right? Selenium is just a set of jar files, right? And so let's say current version of Selenium, the stable version is 3.14 .159 something, right? Yeah, so this is something, some stable version of Selenium in the form of jar. Okay, now let's say tomorrow the version, so now generally these jar files are available on Maven repository, or you can download it from Selenium HQ, not Selenium HQ, but selenium.dev, right? This is the latest URL where this Selenium guys moved the uh, this project, basically Selenium project. So here you see Selenium WebDriver, right? And if you click on download, it is going to be on Selenium client WebDriver binding. And if you click on this, so I'm using Java. So for Java, this is my latest version, stable version basically. I did typo in my document. So here, if I click on download, it is going to download some zip file, right? If I click on download, you see it is downloading some zip file for me, right? I don't want this zip file. In this zip file, basically downloads the jar files, right? And let's say uh, so what I'll do is, what I can do is I can download those that zip file and extract the jar files and add them into my project. But let's say tomorrow new version of Selenium comes. Let's say tomorrow version 4 of Selenium comes as a stable version. So what I'll do is I want to use the new Selenium dependency for version 4. So again I need to go and download and then import into my project. So this is a bit tedious, right? So every time I cannot do that. Rather than simply, what I'll do is I will use something called as under pom.xml. So when you create a Maven project, it gives you something called as pom.xml, and in pom.xml you can simply add dependencies. Okay, so dependencies for Selenium, dependencies for Apache POI, dependencies for Java XML, or whatever dependencies we need, right? So we need not to download any jars externally. So everything we can include in pom.xml. Only one dependency we need to download is OJDBC, because it doesn't come with Maven, because of some license issues. Okay, so I'll tell you again how we can get them. Again, we will be including that from pom.xml itself, but in bit different, we're not directly. Okay, so this is the first use of Maven project, like adding the dependencies automatically. The second thing what we do is compilation. So what we do is, when we write code, it is going to be compile, right? It is going to be package, it is going to be execute. All right, we need to execute our Selenium test cases. So everything, compiling, packaging, executing, all these things are going to be happen with the help of something called as plugins, right? And so for compilation, for packaging, execution, for everything has different plugins. Okay, we'll talk about that. So where this plugin comes from, all the plugins comes from Maven, right? And we used to add all those plugins into pom.xml itself, right? So this is the basic advantage of using pom.xml or Maven project. There could be couple of more, but at a high level, for our advantage, for our use, I see these two advantage. Adding the dependencies could be Selenium dependency, Apache Poi, or any jar files which you want. And second one is about plugins. Okay, various plugins for various purposes: compilation, packaging, execution, reporting, right? Lot many plugins. So for all this purpose, we are going to create something called as Maven project. Let me go to my Eclipse and click on file, click on new. So now these things you should be familiar with. And then go to, if you don't see Maven project over here, go to other and select something called as Maven project. I'll select Maven project. Next. Okay, use the default workspace location, fine. Archetype is 1.1, quick start is good enough. And group id, you can give any group id. I've just given io.automation talks. So in general, how we give the group id, something like com dot your company name, right? Let's say I'm giving my company name as, let's say, automation talks, okay, which is my blog basically. And then under artifact id, what we can do is we can give, let's say, our department name. Let's say I'm giving something like training, okay, dot my project name is, let's say, insurance calculator. Okay, and if you want, you can specify version as well. Let's say version 2.1, something like this. Okay, so what I'll do is, I will not provide this, I can provide the version here itself. So by default it gives me version as 0.0.1. That's the draft version. Let it be, we can change it again in pom.xml. So that's it. I'll simply click on finish. I have given group id, artifact id, and version. I'll click on finish, and it is creating a project for me. You see here, it is creating archetype and it is building a workspace. I'll let it finish. Okay, so let me check where it is. Yeah, so here it is. You see, training dot insurance calculator. This is my project. This is something what artifact id I have given. That's my project name basically. As I said, you can give project name and project version as well. Okay, now if I expand this, by default, you see, we are getting something called as source main java, source test java, then target folder pom.xml. So everything is coming because we are using a Maven project. That's again one more advantage of using Maven project, is it gives me the folder structure. Okay, so you will not understand like why this folder structure is important if you are directly started working on Maven project. If you have earlier worked on plain Java project, and now if you are seeing this Maven project, then you will understand why folder structure is important. Okay, so it has given me some folder structure. Great. Now what are not folders we need basically? So as of now, you see, it has created two folders: source main java, source test java. Okay, so in a high level, what we are going to do is, we are going to create three folders. First one is source main java, second is source test java, third one is source main resources. And we can create one more, or let us create source test resources only. It depends basically how many we are going to create. So I am going to create these three source folders. So currently I have two source folders: source main java and source test java. Okay, now let us understand the purpose why we are going to have these three source folder. So actual test cases. Okay, so when I say actual test cases, that means only test cases. It will not have locators, it will not have how to get the data, it will not have anything else except my actual test cases, right? So my actual test cases are going to be under this particular source folder called as source test java. So I'll put actual test cases. Okay, and the everything, okay, all other code, all other code all other code excluding test cases, right, except actual test, that is going to be under source main Java. For example, creating test base, creating common methods, creating uh, page object models, everything is going to be under source main Java, right? So source main Java, all other code except actual test case, source test Java, only actual test cases, and source test resources. Under this particular source folder, we are going to put, let's say, actual test data. Then we are going to put excuse me, give me a minute. Yeah, we are going to put something called as test data plus config file, where we are going to put all our configurations. That is my properties file basically. And whatever, if I need any XML configuration files and whatever, basically whatever other details or supportive resources I will be needing for my testing, I will be adding all those details into source test resources, right? So at a high level, I'm going to have these three source folder. So again, it all depends on each individuals, how we develop the framework, nature of the application, what kind of framework we are designing, depends on all, right? But at a high level, this is how we should follow. Okay, so by default, you see source main Java and source test Java are already created, right? So let me create another one, which is source test resources. Source main Java, source test Java is already there. Let me create something called as source test resources. Let me right click, let me go to new, and you see something called as source folder, right? Let me say source slash test slash resources, and I'll click on finish. Okay, so you see third source folder got created. Great. Now this is not all about folders, right? So currently under these folders, you see there is some package. I don't want this package. These are by default created by Maven. Let me simply delete that. Under source test Java as well, there is something. Let me delete that as well. Okay, now what and all folder structure we need? This is not complete folder structure. So as I said, under source main Java, we are going to add all the code except actual test cases. So what and all it will include? It will include something, some package for your page object model. Second thing, it will include for your test base. For test base, for basic framework, you will see there is only one class, but when we work on advanced part, there will be lot many different classes. Okay, because of we need thread safety, right? So for that, and my third package is going to be, as of now, is common methods. So we will be creating these three different packages into source main Java. First one is for adding all your page objects. Second one is for adding your test base, whatever resources we need for launching your test case, everything we are going to put under test base package. And something called as common methods, for example, creation of common methods like reading data from Excel properties file, uh, could be writing data into Excel, or common methods like uh, selecting value from drop down radio button click, and whatever, upload file, download file, and everything, could be anything, depend on your application, database connectivity and all. So let me go ahead and create these three different packages under source main Java. Now if you see, these three packages will not have any actual test cases, right? They are just supporting classes and supporting code for actual test cases. Now let me go into Eclipse, go to source main Java, right click, and let us add the package called as page objects. It all again depends how you add it. Page objects, few people prefer using com dot something like that. Okay, let me show you. Few people prefer using like project package name like com dot their company name dot package name. Okay, but since I have given it already in my base project, I am simply skipping it and I am directly giving the package name, which is page objects. Page objects, that's it. And as per naming convention, it should start with lowercase. All right, package name should start with lowercase, let me create another one which is for test base, and let me create another package for my common methods, or I'll say reusable components. Reusable components. It again depends on each and everyone how you name it, but in general it is going to contain reusable components, or you can name it as a common method or whatever you want. Okay, so these are the three packages I have created. Now under source test Java, again it all depends on what kind of project it is, what kind of application it is. Okay, so in my case I have two kinds of test cases, right? So I have data driven test cases and I have some standalone test cases, right? Or I'll say error related scenarios, right? Something like that, right? So based on that I can create different packages, or I can put all my test cases into the same package in different classes. Okay, so this is something we will talk whenever it is required. Okay, under source test Java, I would be needing one folder for saving my test data. Okay, in this particular folder I am going to save my test data. What else I do need? um, Execution reports. Okay, so the thing is I can either save my execution reports on the resources, or I may ask to save it directly into target folder, because execution report is something which I will be getting new every time, right? So and the target folder gets cleaned every time, right? So preferred is using target folder, but let it be. If it is required in future, we will add them. As of now, I think this is something good folder structure to begin. Just to reiterate quickly, we have three source folder: source main Java to store all code except actual test cases, source test Java for actual test cases, source test resources for storing the test resources. Okay, under source main Java we have created some packages like this. Now within these packages we are going to create different classes as and when it is required. Okay, so yeah, I'll stop this video over here and we'll continue with the same again. Thank you.